tech millionaire groom Daniel never imagined that Jessica, the side chick he hid in his Lekki Phase 1 guest room, would crash his Villa Valencia wedding. But that day changed everything. This was Lagos, a city where the impossible was just regular Tuesday traffic. The air at Villa Valencia was suffocatingly thick, a heavy, fragrant mix of 50 million naira worth of imported hydrangeas and the low, anxious hum of the backup generator. It was the biggest wedding Lekki had seen all year. Rows of identical black G-Wagons, Prados and Range Rovers lined the freshly paved road, their tinted windows reflecting the harsh afternoon sun like indifferent eyes. Inside, the sanctuary was a cathedral of floral arrangements. Over 500 guests fanned themselves with their wedding programs, the sound a restless flutter. Their iPhone 15s and 16s flashed, capturing the spectacle. The air conditioning was fighting a losing battle against the collective body heat, designer perfume, and palpable tension. This day was meant to be Linda's triumph. At 38, she was a managing director at one of Nigeria's biggest banks. She was a self-made woman, a tower of brutal intelligence and quiet power, built brick by painful, meticulous brick. She was the one who approved the loans for estates like this. Her suits were tailored, her mind was sharp, and her movements were precise. Her groom, Daniel, was a celebrated tech millionaire. His face was on billboards, his apps on every phone. He was supposed to be her partner, her soft place to land after bruising boardroom battles. Or so she thought. The storm had a name: Jessica. Jessica was 24, an Instagram influencer who lived, quite literally, in Daniel's guest room. She was everything Linda was not: loud, ruthless, and entitled. While Linda earned her status, Jessica borrowed it, wearing Daniel's wealth like a costume. The class divide was a canyon. Linda analyzed spreadsheets. Jessica analyzed her engagement on Instagram Reels. Linda wore tailored, understated power suits. Jessica wore designer labels she couldn't pronounce, tags often visible. Linda stood in the bridal suite, her hands shaking so badly that the makeup artist had to pause. She was looking at a text from Daniel, sent just 1 month ago, after she'd first voiced her suspicions. "She's nobody, Linda, just a distraction, a kid. You are the wife. It's always been you." Then she heard a gasp from the crowd outside, a collective sucking sound of 500 lungs. The music swelled, but it was the wrong song. A second bride was walking down the aisle. The humiliation had not started at the altar. It had been a slow poison, a spiral of 1,000 cuts, each one designed to strip Linda of her dignity. The spiral began not with a bang, but with a cramp. It was 8 p.m. on a Tuesday in the Ikoyi penthouse Linda and Daniel shared. The time was marked by the hum of the main building's generator and the distant, constant river of headlights on the Lekki-Ikoyi link bridge. Linda sat at their 8 million marble dining table, her laptop open. She was cross-referencing her wedding guest list with the caterer's invoice, her brow furrowed. Her phone sat beside her, showing a photo of her and Daniel in Dubai as the lock screen. Daniel was on the sprawling velvet sofa, his own laptop glowing, his eyes locked on the frantic dancing lines of a crypto chart. A sharp, unexpected pain made Linda gasp. It was hot and piercing. She pressed her hand to her lower abdomen, a sudden cold sweat on her brow. She was 12 weeks pregnant. "Danny," she said, her voice tight. "Babe, I don't feel right." He didn't look up. "I'm having a really bad cramp. It's sharp." Daniel sighed, the deep, annoyed sound of a man deeply interrupted. "Babe, you are always stressed. Is it not just period pain?" "I'm pregnant, Daniel," she said, her voice wavering. "I shouldn't be having period pain." He finally looked up, his eyes blank with irritation, not concern. My mother had 7 children in the village. She never went to hospital for small cramp. He turned back to his screen, dismissing her. You are probably just dehydrated. Get some water. The cramp seized her again, harder this time. It felt like something was tearing. She winced, her knuckles white on the table. Daniel, she pleaded, her voice thick with rising fear. I think we need to go to the hospital, now. He slammed his laptop shut. Now? You want to go and sit in St. Maria for 3 hours because of small pain? Linda, I am in the middle of a trade. This is millions, millions. He stood up, towering over her. Look, take a Panadol. You'll be fine in the morning. You modern women are just too soft. Her throat closed. It felt like swallowing glass. This was the man she was marrying in 2 months. This was the father of her child. He saw her pain as an interruption. She nodded, unable to speak. The shame a sudden cold cloak. Okay, Danny, she whispered. God, please, let it be nothing. Please, God. The maid, Awa, was standing in the kitchen doorway, holding a tray with a glass of water she had been about to bring to Linda. She had witnessed the entire exchange. She saw the flash of irritation on Olga's face. She saw the vibrant light in Madame's eyes dim and go out. Awa looked down, her heart aching for her boss. She remembered how Madame had quietly paid her son's 200,000 naira school fees last month, no questions asked. She wanted to say, Madame, let me call driver, but she knew her place. She remained frozen, a silent, pained witness. Linda went to their bedroom alone. She curled up on the cold, designer sheets, clutching a hot water bottle to her stomach. The pain got worse. And then she felt a dampness, a gush. She ran to the ensuite bathroom and saw the bright red blood. A sob caught in her throat. She stumbled back to the bedroom, grabbing her phone. She called Daniel. It went straight to voicemail. She called again, voicemail. He wasn't in his study. He had gone to the guest room, to Jessica. It was 2 a.m. The reception at St. Maria Hospital in Victoria Island was offensively bright. The fluorescent lights buzzed with a sound like a trapped insect. The air smelled of sharp antiseptic and stale floor polish. Linda had come alone in an Uber, her grey sweatpants stained with a dark, frightening patch of blood. Her cracked iPhone 11 showed 15 missed calls to Daniel. She stumbled to the reception desk. 2 nurses, Nurse Joy and Nurse Blessing, were behind the counter, their heads bent over a small Infinix phone, giggling at a TikTok video. Linda gripped the counter to stay upright. Her legs were shaking. Please, she gasped. Help me. I'm 12 weeks pregnant. I am bleeding. I'm bleeding a lot. Nurse Joy looked up, her face a mask of profound irritation. Eh? You are bleeding? Her eyes raked over Linda, taking in the stained sweatpants, the old flippers, the absence of a husband. Now you only come, Nurse Blessing asked, sucking her teeth. My fiancé, he's not picking up, she stammered, her voice breaking. Nurse Joy sneered, looking back at her phone. Now so, you na go do the thing. When trouble come, man go run. It be like say you impregnate yourself. Go and sit down, Nurse Blessing said, waving a dismissive hand. Please, she begged, hot tears welling. It's an emergency. I think I'm losing my baby. Is it not your mates that are pushing out triplets? Nurse Joy shot back, her voice rising. Look at you. Go and sit down. Or is it because you came from Ikoyi you think you can jump queue? Linda flinched, as if struck. I can pay. I have my card. I just need to see a doctor. This angered them more. Oh yeah, I can pay. Money cannot buy baby. Sit down. We will call you when we are ready. Her legs trembled. Her chest felt like the gridlock on 3rd Mainland Bridge at 6 p.m. Everything was jammed, hot and impossible. She took the clipboard and sat on a hard, cold plastic chair. Her hand shook so badly she could barely write her own name. How did it come to this? I'm an MD. I sign checks worth billions. And I'm on a plastic chair, bleeding, begging for help from women watching TikTok.
A security guard at the main door watched, his face full of pity. He looked at the nurses and shook his head slowly. A young intern nurse, her name tag reading Esther, started to walk toward Linda with a cup of water, her face full of concern. Esther, Nurse Joy backed, not even looking up. Go and check the drips in Ward 4, now. Or you want to do my work for me? Esther, the sympathetic witness, flinched, put the water down, and scurried away, casting one last apologetic look at Linda. The other patients in the waiting room, a family with a sick, coughing child, just stared, then looked away. They had their own problems. Linda sat there for 45 minutes. The blood soaked through her sweatpants and pooled on the plastic chair. The AC was too cold, chilling her to the bone. The only sounds were the buzzing lights and the nurse's periodic laughter. She was just a number on a form, bleeding out, while her fiancé was in another woman's bed. It was 4 a.m. A tired, overworked doctor in a sterile cubicle had just delivered the news with zero emotion. "I'm sorry, madam. The pregnancy is gone. You had a complete miscarriage. You can get dressed and the nurses will discharge you." Linda was on a gurney, a thin, papery sheet covering her. She was numb, empty. The cubicle was separated from the hallway by a thin beige curtain. She could hear the nurses whispering outside, their tones suddenly hushed. The hushed tones of the hospital were shattered by the sound of an engine, a deep, arrogant roar, a G-Wagon. The hospital's automatic doors hissed open. The nurses' voices, once so lazy and cruel, suddenly became respectful, almost fawning. "Good morning, ma. Welcome, ma. Oga sent you." The curtain of Linda's cubicle was ripped back. Jessica stood there. She was wearing Danielle's black hoodie, a pair of Yeezy slides, and a smug, sleepy smile. She looked fresh, bored, and powerful. Her eyes scanned the scene. Linda, pale and blood-stained. The doctor, the steel tray with bloody gauze. And she laughed. A short, sharp, barking laugh. "Ah! Jessica said, her voice loud enough for the entire world to hear. "So, the old womb could not hold it. Tu fiakwa." She turned to Nurse Joy, who was now standing at attention, smiling. "Daniel sent me. He's too busy." Jessica walked to the gurney. She patted her own flat stomach, her eyes locked on Linda's. "Don't worry, Linda," she smiled, her voice dripping poison. "Only my baby will bear his name." She reached into the hoodie pocket and pulled out a small crumpled bundle of Naira 5,000 notes. She tossed them onto the gurney. The notes landed on Linda's legs, dark and damp. "For your transport home." Linda couldn't speak. She couldn't move. She just stared at the wall, at a peeling water stain that looked like a map of a place she'd never see. Her tears and the blood felt the same. She felt, rather than saw, the nurses watching her. She had been reduced to a spectacle. Nurse Joy's jaw dropped. Even she was shocked by this level of theatrical cruelty. Nurse Blessing, who had been so hard, looked horrified. "Jesus, this is wickedness," she whispered to the intern, Esther. Esther just started to cry silently with her hand over her mouth, and she fled to the break room. The doctor quickly busied himself with paperwork, looking away. The whole world had heard. The silence that followed was heavy and absolute. Jessica sauntered out, the G-Wagon roaring back to life. A nurse, not Joy, not Blessing, quietly gave Linda a bill. She had to call an Uber. As she walked out, weak and trembling, she saw Nurse Joy in the reception, discreetly smoothing out the 5,000 Naira notes Jessica had thrown. Her 20 million Naira engagement ring felt like a piece of bottle glass. It was 2 weeks later. Linda was trying to find a moment of normalcy. She was at ShopRite in Ikeja City Mall, her basket holding only milk, bread, and a new bottle of multivitamins. She felt weak. Daniel had apologized profusely. "She's crazy, babe, and handling it." He was gaslighting her, and she was letting him. The Saturday afternoon crowd was thick. Generic Afro beats played from the store speakers. She was just trying to survive the day. She was in the cereal aisle, trying to decide, when she heard a shriek. "Oh my God, guys, look who it is! The original village bride!" Linda froze. Her blood ran cold. It was Jessica. She was holding an iPhone 15 Pro Max, her screen showing she was on Instagram Live. The viewer count flashed 50.2K. "She's trying to buy food," Jessica narrated, her camera aimed directly at Linda. "Maybe she thinks food will bring the baby back." The comments on the live feed flew by. "Wicked, this is too much." Linda tried to walk away, pushing her cat. Jessica followed her, her voice high and mocking. "Don't run away, auntie. Your fans want to greet you." Jessica ran ahead, blocking her path. "Let's go and look at rings. I'm trying on my ring today." She dragged her 50,000 viewers to the small jewelry counter. She pointed to a ring identical to Linda's. "Put this one on my finger." The salesgirl, starstruck, obeyed. Jessica held her hand up to the camera right next to Linda's cat. She said to her viewers, "This one looks better on me, Abby." A village bride can't keep a man. She doesn't have the waist for it. She snapped a picture and, as Linda watched, posted it with the caption, "Village bride can't keep a man." Linda abandoned her cat. Her hands were shaking so badly she dropped her wallet. Milk, bread, vitamins, all forgotten. She knelt to pick it up, and all she could see were Jessica's designer shoes and the flash of the camera. She fled the store, her face burning, her chest tight. The shoppers around them had stopped to watch. A circle had formed. Several people were recording on their own phones. Not helping, just filming. The salesgirl at the counter looked embarrassed, but continued to serve Jessica, who was now asking about diamonds. One man whispered to his wife, "This is just cruel. We should say something." The wife pulled him away. "Leave him. It's not our business. You don't know who she is." Linda took a hot, crowded, fume-filled Danfo bus back to Lekki. Her own car, in the mechanic, suddenly a luxury she couldn't face. Before she even got home, the screen recording of the IG Live was already circulating in her bank's main gossip WhatsApp group. "Is this not our MD? Chai, see her life. This is what happens when you marry a small boy."
A week later, Bank HQ, Marina. Linda's office was a glass cube on the 14th floor, the executive floor. It was a symbol of her power, her hard-won authority. It was 3 p.m. She was in a high-level board meeting, discussing quarterly projections. The room was silent, focused. Her PA, Cynthia, looked through the glass, her face pale with panic. She held up a small whiteboard. "It's Jessica. She's at reception." The meeting was interrupted by a commotion, shouting. The heavy mahogany door to the executive suite was pushed open. Jessica was in the reception area, dressed in a tiny, bright pink Balenciaga dress, screaming at the corporate security guards. "I want to open a billionaire's account, and only the MD can handle it. Get her out here." Linda had to excuse herself. The entire open plan office of analysts and managers was watching. As she stepped out, Jessica's camera went up. She was live again. 80K watching. "Oh, you work here? It's so small. Look at this old carpet." Daniel was called and arrived pretending to be a peacemaker. "Babe, what are you doing?" Jessica ran to him and kissed him long and deep in front of all of Linda's colleagues. "Baby, I told you I wanted to support your wife's small bank." She winked. A junior colleague, not knowing the drama, said, "Security, why is this woman harassing our MD?" Another whispered, "Idiot, she's with Oga Daniel. That's the Jessica." Jessica laughed. "I'm not harassing her. I'm just showing her how to close a deal." Linda's face was stone. Her professional world and her private hell had just collided. She felt the eyes of her subordinates, her peers, her board members, who were watching from the conference room. "Cynthia," she said, her voice impossibly calm, betraying nothing. "Please show her to a relationship manager on the ground floor, the one who handles new money accounts." She turned and walked back into the boardroom. Her throat closed like a failed ATM. Her entire team was frozen. Colleagues pretended to stare at their screens. Cynthia, the sympathetic PA, was trembling. "Ma, I'm so sorry," she forced her way up. "It's fine, Cynthia. Get me the Q3 files." The bank's internal gossip blog had a screenshot of the case before the meeting even resumed. The board members inside the room said nothing, but the shift was palpable. She was no longer just the brilliant MD. She was the MD with a messy life. Linda's authority was shattered. The whispers followed her. "So Oga Daniel is the one sponsoring that influencer. Shame. Our MD can't even control her own house." She had become a joke in the very institution she had helped build. Her phone buzzed. A text from a board member. "Linda, get your house in order. This is a bad look for the bank." It was 9 p.m. on a Friday. Linda was driving her own Range Rover, coming home late from a strategy session she'd held off-site to avoid the stairs. She was exhausted. She arrived at the gates of their estate, Banana Island. The gates were tall, black, and imposing. Security cameras were everywhere. She put her access card to the sensor. The sensor beeped, a harsh final sound. A red light. Access denied. She tried again. Access denied. Adamu, the head security guard, walked over, his face a mask of shame. He couldn't meet her eyes. "Sorry, madam, your card is not working." "Adamu, it's me, Linda. You know me. Please open the gate. It must be a system error." "Oga say make we no open for you." Then Jessica's voice crackled over the estate intercom, loud enough for the entire street to hear. "Who is that at my gate?" "Na Madam Linda, ma," Adamu said, his head bowed. A long, cruel pause. "Ah, the ex-wife. Tell her to kneel down and beg properly. Maybe I will consider." A neighbor's car pulled up, a black Mercedes, its headlights pinning her, illuminating her in a harsh, theatrical spotlight. Linda froze. "Kneel? Here? On the dirty ground?" "Madam," Adamu whispered, full of pity. Her spirit snapped. She was tired. She was broken. She got out of her car and knelt on the dusty interlocking stones. "Please, let me in." Adamu winced and, with a shaking hand, pulled out his phone and started filming it. A WhatsApp voice note suddenly played from the security post. It was Jessica, sent to Daniel, but played by mistake for the whole gate to hear. "See your wife, Danny. She's not on my level. She's kneeling at your gate like a house girl. So pathetic."
Linda stood up. The shame was a physical weight, pressing the air from her lungs. She didn't cry. She didn't shout. She got back in her car, her N5 million Tom Ford suit now stained with dust. Adamu quickly stopped recording, his face a mask of guilt and fear. The neighbor in the Mercedes behind her honked impatiently. As Linda pulled away, the neighbor drove past, the madam in the passenger seat refusing to make eye contact. The madam immediately texted the estate WhatsApp group. "Drama at the gate. Linda D is locked out. So messy. She was kneeling. 10 by 10. Linda drove to the Echo Hotel and checked into a suite with her credit card. The video of her kneeling was in the estate WhatsApp group before she even got to her room. Daniel didn't call. Her key card was gone. Her home was gone. It was Sunday. After a week of Daniel's apologies, the security system is faulty, Jessica is a child, Linda, desperate for refuge, went to Daystar Church. The service was packed. The music was loud. This was her sanctuary, the place she and Daniel had tithed, prayed, and planned their wedding. She tried to sit in her usual pew, third row from the front. An usher,
A woman named Sister Funke, who she'd known for years, stepped in front of her, blocking her path. Her smile was gone. "Sorry, ma, this entire row is reserved." "Reserved for who? I always sit here." But the usher just gave her a cold look. "Please find a seat at the back, ma." A moment later, Jessica swept past, wearing a massive bright yellow hat that blocked the view of 3 people. She was escorted by a different smiling usher. She was led to that exact seat in the reserved row. Linda, publicly displaced and humiliated, found a single seat in the back near the overflow. Later, during the offering and special donations, Jessica walked to the front, taking the microphone. "Praise the Lord, church." "Hallelujah," the church replied. "I just want to give a special donation of 2 million naira." The church clapped. Jessica beamed. "This donation is for all the barren women in this church." She paused, and her eyes scanned the crowd until they locked on Linda in the back. "May God remember you and give you your own children." The air was sucked from Linda's lungs. It was a sniper shot in the house of God. She had been publicly branded, barren, cursed. She stood up, her legs shaking. She walked out of the service, the sound of the choir singing "It Is Well" mocking her every step. The entire congregation had witnessed it. People murmured, "This is not Christian. That's wicked. What is pastor doing?" The pastor just smiled and said, "God bless you, my daughter. May God double your husband's pocket." A church sister, one of the few who knew Linda's miscarriage story, texted her as she was walking to her car. "I am so sorry. I saw what she did. God will fight for you." But she had said nothing in the church. Linda stopped going to church. Her place of refuge had become just another stage for her humiliation. She was truly, completely alone. It was the last-ditch attempt to save face. After a week of non-stop begging, Daniel had convinced Linda's family to hold a small private introduction ceremony. To make things right, he said. They gathered in her father's modest, clean compound in Ikeja. The elders were seated on plastic chairs. Linda was in a simple lace iro and buba, her face a numbed mask. Daniel and his family were there, the air thick with tension. The ceremony was about to start. The kola nut was presented. Suddenly, there was a commotion at the gate. Jessica stormed in, her head disheveled, her eyes wild. She was weeping hysterically. "Daniel!" she screamed, falling to the ground in the middle of the compound. "You can't marry this barren woman!" The elders gasped. Linda's mother let out a small cry. "I am pregnant!" Jessica shrieked. She threw a positive pregnancy test at the elders' feet. It clattered on the cement. "This is your grandchild, your blood." She pointed a shaking, accusing finger at Linda. "And she knew. She tried to make me miscarry. She tried to poison me. She's a witch. She tried to kill my baby." This was the final blow. Her family, her father's name, in her own home. It was too much. Linda's vision blurred. The ground rushed up to meet her. She fainted, collapsing onto the floor of her childhood home. Linda's family was disgraced. Her father's face was stone. Daniel's family looked grim and stood up. "This is an abomination. We cannot marry into a family of witches." In the background, a young woman, a new maid Jessica had hired for the event, watched everything. Her name was Uche. She was serving drinks. She watched as Jessica was carefully helped up by Daniel's mother. She saw the small triumphant smirk on Jessica's face as Linda was carried unconscious into the house. The introduction was over. The wedding was unequivocally off. Daniel left with Jessica to take care of her and her unborn child. Linda's family was in ruins. She was taken to a friend's house in Surulere to recover. She couldn't face her father. It was 3 a.m. Linda was on a thin mattress on the floor of her friend's spare room in Surulere. The room was hot. The only sound a creaking ceiling fan. She had lost her baby, her fiancé, her home, her reputation, and now her family's honor. She was a public joke, a barren witch, a failed woman. Her phone, screen cracked, lay on the floor. It had 1% battery left. The phone lit up one last time. A text message from Daniel. The text was short. My family says I must do the right thing and marry the woman carrying my child. The wedding is in 2 weeks. A new message came through. At Villa Valentia. I'm sorry, please don't come. It's better this way. He was giving Jessica her wedding, her venue, her dream. It was the final twisting of the knife. A sound left her, a raw, silent scream. She threw the phone, it hit the wall, and the battery flew out. The screen went black. She was completely, utterly disconnected. There was no one. The silence of the room was absolute. Her friend was asleep. The city was asleep. God was asleep. She was alone. This was it. The bottom. There was nothing left to take. She had been stripped of everything, piece by painful piece, until she was nothing. The woman who commanded boardrooms was now a heap on a terrazzo floor.
She was still on the floor. The time was irrelevant. She was prostrate, her forehead pressed against the cold, dusty floor. Her body ached. Her heart was a cold, dead stone in her chest. The finality of her defeat, the realization that it was over. She had lost. It was no longer external. It was the internal voice. You are nothing. You are barren. You are a witch. You are a failure. Jessica won. She has it all. She has your life. God has forgotten you. The tears finally came. Not the hot tears of shame, but the cold, silent tears of the void. Her lips moved, her voice a raw whisper. Father Lord, she whispered, Jehovah, God of heaven, you see this. You see how they have humiliated me. You know I didn't deserve this. You saw what she did at the hospital. You saw her at the gate. You saw her in your own house. Her body shook with sobs. They have everything. The cars, the money, the house, and I have nothing. They are posting on social media while I am here on the floor. Even my phone is dead, God. I can't even call anyone. Father, I am not asking for revenge. I am asking for vindication. Her fists clenched, gripping the dusty floor. I need just one person to believe me. Send me one friend, just one. Lord, let the truth come out. Show me a sign that you haven't forgotten me. I can't fight anymore. I am so tired. I am so tired. I'm leaving it in your hands. Whatever you want to do, do it. If you don't help me, I don't know what will happen. The only witness was the ceiling fan, creaking in a sad, rhythmic circle. She fell asleep from pure emotional exhaustion, right there on the floor. Her last tear dried on the terrazzo. The phone was dead. The room was silent. It was finished. The morning after. Helper's arrival. Linda woke to the sound of a soft, hesitant knock. The morning sun was streaming through the curtains, striking her face. Her body was stiff and sore from sleeping on the floor. Her phone was still in pieces by the wall, dead. Linda, her friend called softly from the other side of the door. There's someone here to see you. Linda sat up confused. Who knew she was here? She says her name is Uche. Uche? Linda's heart hammered. Jessica's maid. She was here to mock her, to deliver another blow. Let her in, Linda said, her voice a croak. The door opened. Uche stood there, not in a maid's uniform, but in a simple, clean dress. She was holding an old technophone in her hand. Madam Linda, she said, her voice low. Did she send you? Linda asked, her body tensing for another attack. No, ma. Uche stepped into the room. I came on my own. How did you find me? Your friend. I know her cousin from my village. I asked. Uche looked at Linda on the floor, at the broken phone. She didn't look with pity. She looked with a cold, righteous anger. Madam, Uche said straight to the point. Jessica is not pregnant. Linda's head snapped up. The room seemed to tilt. What did you say? She is not pregnant, ma. The test she threw at your family's feet was fake. It was her friend's urine. Her friend is 3 months pregnant. The revelation and instruction. How do you know that? Linda whispered, a tiny fragile spark of hope daring to light. I am her maid, madam. She thinks I am invisible. She thinks because I sweep, I am deaf. Uche held up the old technophone. She is loud. She talks to everyone on speakerphone. She brags to her friends and she records voice notes. For weeks, I have been recording her. This was option D, the accomplice who switched sides. She trusted me. She told me everything. Uche pushed a button. Jessica's voice filled the small room, clear and sharp. LOMAO. That barren fool actually fainted. You should have seen her face. The elders bought it. Now Daniel has to marry me. The wedding is in 2 weeks at Villa Valentia, and I have the perfect plan. Linda put her hand over her mouth. Uche's eyes were fierce. She recorded this last night for her friend in Abuja, bragging. She played another one. I'm even going to wear her gown. Daniel promised me the altar, the one she's always showing him on her laptop. He promised me. And then Daniel's voice, weak and thin. Okay, Jess. Okay. Just be quiet. It's done. She planned it. Linda whispered. All of it. Yes, ma. Uche looked at Linda. I came to your friend's gate last night, but she said you were sleeping. I stood outside. I heard you crying through the window. You asked God for one friend. Uche met her eyes. I am here. Tears streamed down Linda's face, the first tears of relief. Here's what we are going to do, Uche said, her voice firm. First, Uche reached into her bag and pulled out a small new charger. This is for your phone. You need to be connected. Linda stared at the charger. It was a lifeline. I have money, Uche. I know, madam. This is not about money. This is about truth. Uche sat on the floor, plugged in the charger, and reassembled Linda's phone. I will go back to her house today. She will be busy planning. She will be loud, and my phone will be recording everything. What do I do? Linda asked, her voice still shaking. You will not hide, Uche said, her voice hardening. You will get up from this floor. You will go to a hotel. You will charge your phone. You will call your most powerful friends. You will call your lawyer, and you will prepare for a wedding. Uche stood up. Madam, your suffering wasn't wasted. It was preparation. The same people who watched you suffer will watch you rise. Uche left. Linda stared at her phone. The screen lit up. 1%. She plugged it in. Momentum building. The next 2 weeks were a blur of cold, focused strategy. Linda moved from her friend's spare room to the presidential suite at the Eco Hotel, her own black card. Her transformation began. She ate, she slept, she called her lawyer. I'm not filing for emotional distress. I'm filing for conspiracy to defraud, and I have evidence. She called the head of her bank's IT and security, a man who owed her his job. I need a favor, Mr. Hassan. I need you to get remote access to the AV system at Villa Valentia this Saturday. I will be sending you an audio file, and I need 4 of your best off-duty security men, plain clothes, at the venue by 10 a.m. The reply was simple. Consider it done, Madame E.D. She was already being called by her new title. The board, hearing whispers of Daniel's fraud, had already started the promotion process. Meanwhile, Jessica was oblivious. Her Instagram was a storm of bridal showers, clips of her dress fitting, Linda's dream dress, and captions. He went for the best, can't wait to be Mrs. D, #blessed, #wife finally, #haters would die mad. Uche was a ghost, sending daily updates. Text, she's on the phone with Daniel right now, laughing about the hospital incident. I am recording. Text, she just bragged to the makeup artist about the 2M Naira donation at Daystar. Got it. Text, she's practicing her vows. She's mocking you. All recorded, ma. Linda's lawyer and Hassan's tech team compiled the audio files into a single, devastating 10-minute track, time-stamped and verified.
The night before the wedding, Linda was not crying. She was in her suite, looking out at the lights of Lagos. She had her hair and makeup done by the best in the city. She wasn't wearing white. She had a custom-made blood-red power suit from her tailor, laid out on the bed. She received the official wedding invitation via courier, a final petty insult. She placed it on the table, next to a printed copy of her 50M Naira alimony filing and fraud complaint. She looked at the outfit. He promised her the altar, Linda whispered. Let's see. Villa Valentia was stunning. The venue was packed, 500 of Lagos's elite. The projector screens on either side of the altar were meant to play a love story slideshow. The witnesses to her humiliation were all there in their finest ashwebi. The Nurse Joy and Nurse Blessing from St. Maria, invited by Daniel's family. The colleagues from her bank whispering and avoiding eye contact. The pastor and ushers from Daystar who had taken Jessica's blessed money. The elders from the failed introduction looking grim. Adamu, the security guard, was walking the gate. They all whispered about how sad it was for Linda, but life moves on. Daniel stood at the altar, sweating in his white tuxedo. He looked like a man being led to his execution. The music swelled. Here comes the bride. The massive doors opened, and down the aisle came Jessica. She was in a full, magnificent wedding gown, a perfect replica of the Vera Wang Linda had saved on her Pinterest, a 9-foot veil trailing behind her. Her friend was walking beside her, holding an iPhone high. The IG Live was streaming, 2.1 million viewers flashing on the screen. Jessica beamed, her smile a triumphant mask. She looked at Daniel, her eyes saying, "You are mine." She reached the altar. The pastor smiled. "We are gathered here today to join this wonderful couple, Daniel and Jessica." "Stop!" The voice was not a shout.
It was clear, amplified, and full of power. The music screeched to a halt. The 500 guests turned as one. The main doors at the back opened again. In walked Linda. She was not in a wedding dress. She was in the blood-red power suit. Her hair was pulled back in a sleek, severe bun. Her face was serene. She was holding a single wireless microphone. The entire hall gasped. The IG Live camera whipped around to face her. Daniel's face went white. Jessica's smile froze, then twisted into an animalistic snarl. What are you doing here, Linda?" Jessica hissed. "Security, get her out of my wedding." The 2 policemen Jessica had hired on Daniel's payroll moved forward. But 4 other men in sharp, dark suits, Linda's men from the bank, stepped in front of them. "Stand down." Uche was in the AV Tech booth, disguised as a technician, her hand on the laptop. Linda began to walk slowly down the aisle, her heels clicking on the marble with the sound of a ticking clock. "Hello, Daniel. Hello, Jessica." She stopped at the front pew. She looked at Jessica, from the 500,000 naira makeup to the 2 million naira gown. "That's a beautiful dress," Linda said, her voice smooth. "It looks familiar." "Are you mad?" Jessica shrieked, her voice cracking. "Are you crazy? Get out! Daniel, tell her to get out!" Daniel was mute, frozen, his sweat visible. "Your wedding, Jessica?" Linda asked. She addressed the crowd. "She invited me. I have my invitation." She held it up. "But I have a question." She turned to Jessica. "Did you really think this day was for you? Did you really think you could build a life on my tears, on my blood?" Jessica laughed, a high, nervous sound. "Ha! This is ridiculous. Everyone, she's crazy. She's obsessed with me because Daniel chose me. He saw I am fertile and she is barren."
She went for her old weapon. She's a barren witch. She tried to kill my baby. The pastor looked horrified. Madam, please, this is the house of God. Then let's hear the truth in God's house, Linda said. She smiled a cold, sharp smile. You are right. Let's see what everyone thinks. She looked at the tech booth and gave a single sharp nod. I believe the love story slideshow is ready. A loud click echoed through the sanctuary speakers. The projector screens lit up, but it wasn't a photo. It was an audio waveform. The IG live still streaming captured it all. Jessica's voice filled the hall. LMAO, that barren fool actually fainted. You should have seen her face. The elders bought it. Now, Daniel has to marry me. The wedding is in 2 weeks at Villa Valencia, and I have the perfect plan. Daniel launched for the AV booth, but Linda's men blocked him. Jessica was shaking her head. No, that's not. The next track played. I'm even going to wear her gown. Daniel promised me the altar. The one she's always showing him on her laptop. He promised me. And Daniel's weak reply. Okay, Jess. Okay, it's done. The crowd erupted. That's not all, Linda said into the mic. The next track. Jessica's voice again, laughing. The hospital was my best idea. You should have seen her face when I said only my baby will bear his name. Laugh out loud. So epic. Those stupid nurses just watched. Nurse Joy and Nurse Blessing grabbed each other, their faces pale. Another track. The 2 million naira for barren women at Daystar, that was just for fun. The pastor ate it up. They will believe anything if you throw money at them. The pastor stumbled back, clutching his chest. Turn it off, Jessica screamed, her voice raw. It's a lie, it's fake, it's AI. Daniel, tell them. Daniel had collapsed into the front pew, his head in his hands, sobbing. It's true, he whispered, loud enough for the mic to pick up. It's true, all of it. I'm sorry, Linda. She trapped me. She turned on him. You're weak. You promised me. She lunged at Linda, her nails out like claws. Linda didn't flinch. Her security men caught her by the arms. The wedding gown, so beautiful and pure, tore at the shoulder. You wanted to be seen, Jessica, Linda said, her voice cutting through the noise. You wanted your 2 million viewers. She pointed to the IG live phone still streaming. They're all watching. The whole world is watching you. Jessica froze, her eyes wide, realizing her fame had become her prison. The comments on the live feed were no longer laughing emojis. They were snakes, devils, jail her, wicked woman. At that moment, the main doors opened again. Uche walked in, no longer in a technician uniform. She was flanked by 2 uniformed police officers. That's her, officers. That is the woman who confessed to conspiracy to defraud and public defamation. All the evidence has been submitted. The police moved in. No, Jessica screamed. That of me. You can't arrest me. I'm the bride. Do you know who I am? We know exactly who you are, the officer said, snapping handcuffs on her wrist. They dragged her out, kicking and screaming, her 500,000 naira makeup ruined by black mascara tears. The 2 million naira gown was torn and dirty. Her friend was still filming the IG live. The 2.1 million viewers watched her being bundled into a police van, a modern day spectacle. The wedding was over. Linda turned to Daniel. He was whispering, Linda, please, I'm sorry, I didn't. Linda looked at him, not with hate, but with cold, clear pity. You promised her the altar, Daniel. You can have it. She dropped the microphone. It clattered on the floor, the thud echoing in the total silence. She turned to the 500 shocked guests. Thank you all for coming. The party is over. She paused. But please, enjoy the small chops on your way out. She turned and walked out of the church, her red suit a beacon in the stunned silence. Linda walked out of Villa Valentia into the bright, hot Lagos sun. She took a deep breath. She didn't cry. Uche followed her out. "Ma, it's done." Linda turned and for the first time hugged the younger woman tightly. "No, Uche," Linda said, "we are done. Now we begin." The apologies came in a flood. The pastor, the nurses, the colleagues, the estate neighbors, they all rushed to her, phones buzzing. "We are so sorry, Linda. We had no idea. Forgive us." Linda just nodded, her face serene. "I forgive you. I understand fear." She looked at Nurse Joy. "But I will be reporting you to the medical board." 6 months later, Linda's life was not just restored, it was upgraded. The video of the wedding, dubbed the Villa Valentia Vindication, hit 50 million views. The board at Linda's bank, seeing her incredible grace and still under pressure, called an emergency meeting. "We don't need an MD like that," the chairman said. "We need an executive director." She was promoted, her new office taking up the entire top floor. She filed for divorce. The audio recordings were Exhibit A through Z. The judge was so appalled he didn't just grant the divorce. He froze all Daniel's accounts and awarded Linda 50 million naira in alimony and damages. Daniel's D-Tech company stock plummeted. His board, citing a morality clause, fired him. Jessica was facing multiple fraud charges. The fake pregnancy was exposed. Linda sold the Ikoyi penthouse. She bought a new one, bigger, with a wide sweeping view of the lagoon. Her first purchase with the damages was a brand new, pearl white Range Rover. She gave her old one to Uche, whom she had hired as the head of her new NGO, the Uche Foundation, dedicated to protecting domestic workers. The final scene was not a wedding, it was Linda at 6 a.m. on her new penthouse balcony, sipping a hot cup of coffee. The sun was rising, painting the water gold. Her phone buzzed. It wasn't a threat, it wasn't a text from Daniel. It was a bank alert. Naira 50 million, Naira 00 kobo. She smiled and took a sip. Looking back, she understood. The pain had a purpose. It wasn't wasted. Every humiliation was just God gathering witnesses for her testimony. Wicked people can only go so far. What you do in the dark will always
come to light. And in the modern world, that light is a 2.1 million viewer Instagram live. She had stayed quiet when they mocked her. That silence became her weapon. While they are being loud, you are collecting evidence. While they are posting, you are planning. Help came when she stopped trying to save herself. The prayer at rock bottom opened heaven. Your helper might not look like you expect. Sometimes it's the person everyone ignores, the one sweeping the floor. This story is real. It happened to Linda. It could happen to you. If you are going through something like this right now, don't give up. Your day is coming. Your helper is on the way. Keep your integrity. Keep your faith. Keep breathing. The same people who watch you suffer will watch you rise. And for those doing the hurting, your time is coming. Evidence is piling up. No designer bag can cover a wicked heart. God sees everything and He settles all accounts. Share this story. Someone needs to hear it today. Stop crying. Start documenting. Stop begging. Start building. In this modern world, evidence is your angel.